Okay, what is up everybody? It's been a while since I've done a video, so I just thought I'd get myself sorted out and jump back in with just a little pyramid preview of just a small pyramid I've made recently. So it's been a whole lot going on, learning heaps of new stuff, just discovering new ways of doing things, more effective ways of doing things when I'm building these things. So yeah, I'm just going to give a little overview, just a quick video, and if you guys have got any questions, feel free to throw that in the chat box and I'll just check through periodically, see if anyone's done that. So yeah, for now, I guess we'll just jump right into it. So this pyramid, this is just a little 15 by 15 centimeter powered pyramid. Now the key difference with this one that I guess, well, there's a lot of things that set it apart from stuff that I've done previously, but this pyramid is primarily powdered orgonite. Now I know a lot of people who will see this who know a little bit about orgonite will cringe, as did I the first 20 times I made it. So I've actually come up with a solution to the powdered orgonite conundrum, whereas the problem has been in the past that there's a perceived sort of energetic stagnation. The energy stagnates essentially, so it pulls in that electromagnetic energy from electronic devices in the environment. It gathers that energy there, ready to be filtered through the quartz crystal to essentially transmute that frequency into something that is beneficial for life, into a life affirming frequency. And at that point, from what I can tell, when using things like iron oxide powders or basically any metal oxide powders, is that it will gather that energy but it won't release it anywhere near as effectively as it needs to anyway. So it'll essentially just hold that uncomfortable frequency, and that's what you feel. It doesn't really seem to radiate much of it, but you certainly get close enough to it, and yeah, it's quite uncomfortable. So that was the main problem with the powdered orgonite. Now, I'm going to do a whole video just on that because it's a huge subject, but for now, let's just say magnetite was a solution for that issue. So magnetite is iron oxide, so it's basically iron rust, and it's magnetically charged. So what that does with that magnetic charge is it allows the energetic pathways, if you will, to align with the quartz, and it creates a highway or a pathway for the energy to move out of the iron oxide into the quartz, and we get that flow. So yeah, long story short, that's what this pyramid's doing. So why I've gone the powdered option, it's just way more effective. You can get so much more energy throughput. The strength of these pyramids took me about a week after I made this one. This was actually the first powdered orgonite pyramid I made. It's taken me about a week just to stabilize again after after experiencing the level of energy that comes off this thing. So it's essentially a large battery that radiates life force energy or life affirming energy, and it's powered by waste energy from electronic devices. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, essentially that's at the core of the pyramid. Excuse me. Now, one thing worth noting with powdered orgonite, again, just briefly, is one downfall of it, or one nuance of it, is that it doesn't seem to pick up the electromagnetic radiation in the atmosphere without an antenna or a larger piece of metal connected to it. So why that is, from my understanding, it's just not within range of the frequency. So if you've got a frequency, a tiny little frequency like this, which is what the powdered orgonite in the pyramid can receive, the frequency of the electromagnetic radiation that we're wanting to use as power is like this, and it's not really syncing. So it's not really picking up any of that frequency or that energy that's coming in on that wave. So what I did to counteract that was that I added a strip of brass around the outside of it, which is connected to the powdered orgonite inside, and that acts as like an antenna to pick up those larger bandwidths and filters and pushes it down into the orgonite. That works quite well. It could be what's the way? I wouldn't say better, but it's effective. You know, the field of effectiveness is about 40 to 80 meters, depending on what frequencies you're playing through it. So it's more than effective. You know, you could extend that range further by adding more metal to the mix, like you would in traditional orgonite. But for this case, I think that's probably going to be excessive, as this is more of a room-sized pyramid. You know, it'll do your house as far as protection from electromagnetic energy. But yeah, it's more of a room-sized pyramid, so we don't really need to put a bigger aerial on it. So yeah, essentially how this is put together. At the core, we've got a titanium aura quartz. So this is quartz crystal that's been molecularly bonded with a whole bunch of different minerals and elements. I just thought it would be a really fun energy to work with. So this has essentially got one of those straight down the middle. All right, and then I'll try and do this in a way that's easy for you guys to see. And then on the outside of that, we've got one of these coils. This is a golden fire tensor ring, wrapped like a monsoon coil. There's a lot of terminology going on here, guys. A lot of really cool information if you're interested in that stuff, but I will just simplify it at the end of this. So yeah, so we've got a monsoon coil there wrapped around a golden fire tensor ring. The coil in this actually has 3 coils on it, so it's got this one and 2 other sizes just to help disperse the frequencies a little more effectively. So we've got that, and then on the inside of that we've got this ring of magnets. So essentially there's a ring of magnets on the inside of the coil, and that's all sitting around the titanium aura quartz like that. So in effect what we're doing is we're inputting a frequency through the coil that's being received and amplified and somewhat filtered by the ring of magnets, which is then passing into the quartz crystal, which again is balancing and amplifying that frequency. So this is the first time I tried this combo, but it's really powerful, especially for when the pyramid isn't powered. I find these magnets just add an extra sort of punchiness to it in its unpowered state. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So from that, then basically the whole thing is powdered orgonite, which has got, as you can see on the screen here, all of those crystalline inclusions in there. So one's up the top here, you know, aqua aura, titanium aura, azurite. So the aura quartz is all quartz, and it's just molecularly bonded with different things. So aqua aura is molecularly bonded with gold, 24 karat gold, which is pretty cool. Gold has a really high frequency, as well as titanium, so I like using those. You know, it's to essentially just use a little bit of the energy that's coming off the pyramid and filtering it through those different crystals, and we're getting that effect from those crystals. So again, guys, I'll probably go into a lot more detail on the powdered orgonite video on how to use it, how it's actually working. I've got months worth of research in my head right now, so yeah, I'll do a separate video on that really soon. Yeah, so moving on, azurite, really good for the throat, self-expression, as well as you could say your third eye or your vision. So really activating and clearing in sort of this area of your body especially. That's a super potent crystal. Amethyst, again, amethyst is pretty self-explanatory for most people, and a bit of clear quartz. So clear quartz in this instance is primarily in this blue layer. So I actually did a casing layer on the outside of the orgonite core, which is purely just clear quartz mixed with some resin. Now, why I did that, I basically wanted to try it out. From my understanding, that's what the Great Pyramid in Egypt actually had initially. So it had an actual casing layer of, I can't remember what stone it was, but essentially quartz. So I wanted to try that out. What effect that has, I've found, is that it kind of insulates the pyramid, so it actually holds a charge. So you kind of charge it up with it's kind of a battery, I guess you could say. It gathers a charge by itself, but when you plug it in, it essentially speeds up the process a lot. So you get this full charge, which when it's fully charged sits around 587 million Bovis. Now Bovis is just a measure of spiritual energy or ether or orgone energy. There's an infinite different amount of terms for it, but essentially in this context it's like a battery capacity, how much voltage the pyramid can hold. So when it's fully charged, it holds that charge, unless you like literally put your hand on it, ground yourself, and just like pump the energy through your own body, which is kind of fun as well. It's really energizing, but again, it doesn't take long at all to sort of build back up to that maximum charge. So I think the quartz in there, it's doing a lot, but it's kind of insulating that as well. So it's like a case for the battery, I guess you could say. There's a lot more that it is doing, but I'm not going to go into that now because it's quite, I can nerd out on it basically. So you got your 24 karat gold leaf in the top here. Again, like the Great Pyramid in Egypt, it had a gold capstone. That's for focusing the energy, as well as filtering the frequency that we want. Now, one cool thing that happened with this pyramid, it was actually clear. So I made it clear at the top so you could actually see in there and see the coil and the crystal and everything. You still can, there's little windows, but I got a little ahead of myself and mixed the outside layer, so this very last casing layer that has the brass in it. I put a bit too much catalyst in the resin, and what that means is that it sets really quickly, and it doesn't give air bubbles a chance to escape properly. So and pop, that couldn't happen because it's set too quickly. So there's some pretty decent air bubbles stuck in here. And when I put it outside in the sun to sort of bake and to finish curing, those air bubbles expanded and actually blew up the outer layer, that made like a larger air pocket in between these two layers. Now, interestingly, it actually stopped here. So for some reason, the outside layer is bonded to this quartz layer a little more effectively than it did just to the clear resin, which was really interesting. But I was a bit worried about it. I wasn't even sure it was going to explode. So it all bubbled out, and then essentially it just got to a point where there was obviously a couple of little air holes that opened up, let all the air out, and it actually retracted back and sat flat. So like when I do this, I've sanded it a fair bit too, but when I do this, there's virtually no, like you can't even tell that it had expanded. So it actually ended up with this really cool effect. I was a bit upset originally because it was such a nice pyramid, but I think this has actually added to the uniqueness of it. So I'm really happy with it at the end of the day. It kind of looks like shattered glass in a way. So metaphorically speaking, for some of you might find that quite interesting. So yeah, all in all, really powerful orgonite pyramid. If you want a pyramid that is going to give you some good protection as well as be hugely useful and energizing for your room or your house, something like this is a good way to go. It's not complicated. There's an auxiliary cord cable to plug it into your phone. You can use your phone as a frequency generator. So what I'm inputting to this pyramid right now, there's 3 frequencies, which make an F sharp major chord, which again I won't go into that, but it's essentially a chord of creation, you could say. So all of the angles found in a seed of life, flower of life. All the angles added up from a flower of life equal to the frequencies that are being played in here, as well as you can take all of the angles added up from all of the platonic solids, again leads back to these frequencies. So as well as phi, the golden ratio, add up those angles, leads back to these frequencies. So there's 3 of those which I can provide for you if you would like one of these pyramids. It's just really nice. It's organic, as organic as possible for an electronically generated frequency. Very uplifting, and then I'm also playing the pyramid's resonant frequency through it. So that essentially just it resonates, so it amplifies everything that's already there and makes it even stronger. So yeah, as a standalone pyramid, if you don't have it plugged into anything, it'll do all of the EMF, probably for an average size house, as well as provide some really nice energy for you in the space. You can also just put your hand on it like that, and just let it flow, let it rip, and that is really energizing. That just, it brings your posture up, sort of just charges all of your cells, I guess you could say. So yeah, that's really cool. Other than that, I think that's about everything. All of the specs are here. Yeah, I'll just check if there's any questions from you guys. And sorry about the horrible camera angle there too. I'm still getting used to the setup here. But yeah, thanks for stopping by. If you would like, I'm actually going to put this particular pyramid up for sale. I almost didn't. I really like it. I don't know if I'll ever be able to do that that shattered effect up the top there again. But yeah, I've got so many pyramids around. I'm going to put this one up for sale. So it's a one of a kind, guys. If it resonates with you, you can find it on my Etsy store, Freedom by Design 9, or just send me a message on Facebook. So yeah, thanks for stopping by, and make sure to check out the powdered orgonite video that will be up in the next 24 hours. Cheers.